Hello, everyone. It is Comrade for Comrade Weather. Doing an emergency update on Milton. It is a significantly strong Category 5 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see it right there, just northwest of the Yucatan Peninsula. Looks like it's going to curve out in the next few hours and move northeast, heading towards Florida. So, Florida, you need to be ready with your evacuate. If you're being told to evacuate, you need to evacuate now. I don't care about the traffic. This is a significant storm. I think this one's going to make landfall as a Category 4. Uh, NHC is saying borderline Cat 4. I think it's going to make a Cat. I think it's going to be Cat 4. This thing is 175 miles an hour. That is the winds being recorded. That was being recorded by the recon planes. 150 knots, 175 miles an hour. It's moving east at 9 miles an hour. The minimum pressure is 911 millibars. It is still strengthening. This thing has been dropping 14 millibars an hour. This will probably go sub 900 at this point. It's been, and let's not forget, 24 hours ago from today, it is 2:37 p.m. Eastern on Monday, the 7th, October 7th. On Sunday, October 6th, it had just become a hurricane. So within roughly 24 hours, it goes from roughly a tropical storm to significant, very strong Category 5 hurricane in one day. This is one of the quickest. This isn't even just rapid intensification. This is extreme rapid intensification. This is just. This thing continues to defy all odds. Here's from the NHC. Milton explosively intensifies with 175 mile per hour winds. Residents in Florida are urged to follow the advice of local officials. Let me show you the cone here. We'll do the experimental one. As you can see, 7 p.m. Wednesday, it's looking like it's making landfall at Tampa. So Tampa, you need to be ready. I mean, seriously, you guys have to be ready. Sarasota, Tampa, these areas in Florida need to be ready for a major hurricane making landfall. Category 3, Category 4, Category 5. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a very dangerous and destructive hurricane. I can already feel it. They are expanding hurricane watches almost to the east coast of Florida, because this thing's still going to be a hurricane once it passes through the peninsula, and then it's supposed to go extratropical by Friday. But still, if you are in the west coast, even if you're inland, if you're near Lake Orlando, you still need to be ready for significant winds, significant flooding, tornadoes. There's a good chance for some tornadoes here. I think tomorrow, Tuesday the 8th, the Storm Prediction Center, I feel like, is probably gonna go for an enhanced risk. So I could definitely see a lot of tornadoes here. I could even see some strong tornadoes with the wind and wind shear and buoyancy. And I'm not saying this to scare anyone, but this is going to be a significant hurricane. We've never had a major hurricane hit Tampa Bay directly in over 100 years. 1921, I believe, was the last major hurricane to directly impact Tampa Bay. So this is a historic storm that could bring historic damage to Tampa. So if you know anyone in Tampa, Sarasota, anywhere in the pink, if you know anyone in that big lake, I know it's some longer name. I can't remember what the lake's called in the middle of Florida, in South Florida. If anyone from there, north and westwards, tell them, start thinking about evacuating, maybe go towards Miami. Even then, I don't even think you should go near Miami, but kind of stay in that area. 'Cause I'll tell you, it's probably so much traffic trying to get north to Georgia. And if you are evacuating to Georgia, that is a good idea. Make sure you don't go to North Georgia. Don't go to South Carolina and not North, but northwestern South Carolina. Don't go to western North Carolina, because obviously they're still recovering from the catastrophic damage that Helene brought. So don't go to western North Carolina. Do not go to northeast Georgia. Go to places. And don't go to. Don't go to like Augusta, Georgia. I think's the one up north. Don't go to Asheville, because Asheville barely exists, unfortunately. Go to places like Atlanta, or near Atlanta. Go to Alabama. Go to the Panhandle of Florida. Go to somewhere safe. If you're on the west coast of Florida, if you're from the Big Bend all the way down, even into the Keys, I'm even going to say the Keys, you need to get out of there. If you can get inland, that is a good idea. If you're on the coast, you need to get out of there now. You have 48 hours before it makes landfall, if that. You need to get out of there. Forecast discussion. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to do anything yet with this storm. I didn't think it was going to go Category 5 today. I don't think anyone did. But, yeah. Alright. Milton's remarkable rapid intensification is continuing. Satellite images show a small eye within the very cold central cloud cover, and the eye is becoming better defined. Data from the Mexican radar at Sabaqueen. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Show a small closed eye with an intense eye wall presentation. The Hurricane Hunter aircraft earlier reported a peak flight level wind of 146 knots, which I think somewhere around like 160 miles an hour, somewhere around there. Drops on data show that the pressure has fallen to around 933. Which is down about 22 millibars in 4 hours. That's a significant drop. That's like worse than a bomb cyclone. The initial wind speed is set to 135 knots, which is an 80 knot increase in 24 hours, only eclipsed by Wilma in 2005 and Felix in 2007 in their records. This is old too. I probably should have looked at the time, but that's from 11 a.m. Eastern. I think it's past Phoenix. I know Wilma. It's not going to pass Wilma. 'Cause Wilma, I think it's intensified in 15 hours. This one's only intensified in 18 hours, which is still a significant short time to intensify from a tropical storm to a Category 5. Yeah, they probably should update that for. It's all right. They probably are soon. Just want to check something. Okay. I thought maybe NHC might have issued a new thing. Yeah, I could check just in case. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything new just yet. Rainfall. Tampa could expect anywhere from 6 to 8 inches with locally higher amounts possible. It looks like between Jacksonville and Orlando might get the heaviest rain, 8 to 12 plus, as you can see in the orange there, and even that little spot right there and there. I'm more really concerned with Tampa with the storm surge. Tampa Bay 8 to 12 feet of storm surge. Now remember, Tampa Bay is that one portion here, those two little portions are peninsulas. They are surrounded by water on three of the four sides. If the storm surge gets worse, that means a good portion of that peninsula is going to be underwater for a little while. Assuming it goes a little north of Tampa Bay, like if it doesn't actually enter the Bay, it's going to be some of the worst storm surge ever. If it goes south, it might be a little bit better, but there's still going to be significant storm surge, and there's still going to be areas of Tampa Bay underwater. But the winds are going to be the worst. So, no matter what happens, north-south of Tampa Bay is going to be in some rough conditions for a little bit. Not a good situation at all. Flash flooding potential. If it will work. That is the greatest flash flood risk over the next 3 days. Orlando, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Miami, Key West. Those areas are just going to get rained on so much. Again, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches, locally higher amounts possible. This is not a good situation for Florida, especially the Big Bend of Florida, which could undo some of the progress FEMA and the towns have been making after Helene, which that we don't want, because that's going to put another price tag onto the damage. So again, here's the cone. 7 p.m. Wednesday right now, NHC thinks it's going to make landfall as a major hurricane. I believe Category 4 borderline of it. So 130 miles an hour with gusts up to 150 miles an hour. So you'd be dealing with EF3 winds. But I really wouldn't be surprised if it's like 140 at landfall with gusts up to 170. So EF3, EF4 winds. So you got enough winds that would topple houses. Depending on if that actually carries inland, it might apply to coastal. But still, the damage is likely to be catastrophic. And I don't say that to scare anyone. I'm just saying you need to, if you are on the coast, you need to get out of there immediately. Because this is not a storm to be joking with. You shouldn't have been joking around with it at Helene. You shouldn't be joking around with Milton. You shouldn't be joking no matter what. But this is one of the storms where if you don't evacuate, this is a life or death situation. Going to the models. Models really suck. I have to say it. Right now, this is the HWRF at 940 millibars, even though it's at 911 millibars now, and probably sub 900 millibars as we speak. But we'll use it as where it could go. So it's moving. As you can see, it misses the Yucatan by probably 100 miles, and that little island too. And it keeps moving along. Maybe. Can I? Oh my god. Alright, and then you can see, it looks pretty strong, and then south portion of the eye kind of gets hit with shear and dry air. But it looks like making landfall around a 948 thing just in the southern portion of the Big Bend. And then it's not going to be able to recover, which is good. I mean, it doesn't matter anyways, going out to sea once it... And Tropical Tidbits just crashed, so we're gonna move on. That's what the hurricane looks like right now as of 2:50 p.m. Eastern. You can see that small eye right there, that pinhole of an eye. This thing is a beast. This is a crazy storm. And even if it does like an eyewall replacement, I doubt that's going to weaken it at all. If it's at 175, it'll probably just weaken it to 155 at the most. And then, even then, it can regain its strength. There is wind shear as it approaches Florida. But again, this all depends. Does it stay a Category 5 for the next 24 to 36 hours? Because if it does, that means it's probably not going to weaken. And especially if it's a very strong Category 5, which it is right now, 175 miles an hour. If it just weakens a little bit, it could still make landfalls at 160 mile per hour Cat 5. I don't think that's going to happen. I still think there's a chance for some significant weakening, but I think it's a little bit less weakening than what we first thought yesterday. I think it's probably going to make landfalls on 140 mile per hour Category 4. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter if it's a Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 5. It doesn't matter if it's a Cat 1, Cat 2. If you're in the west coast of Florida, you need to evacuate immediately. If you're on the coast, I would at least evacuate immediately. I know there's some mandatory and some voluntary. If you're in Tampa Bay, just get out of there. It's not going to be safe no matter what. Storm surge, that's going to be a major problem. Winds, that's going to be a major problem. So it doesn't matter if you're like on the third floor or on the first floor. If you're on the first floor, you're probably going to be underwater. If you're on the third floor, you could get toppled by winds. That's what I'm trying to say. So please, if you're on the coast, around Tampa, even into portions of the Big Bend and the southern coast of Florida, if you are under a voluntary or mandatory, please evacuate no matter what. And if you're inland, stock up on food and fuel for your vehicles, because you might be out of power for weeks. You might be you might be cut off. Like, we've had communities from Helene cut off from the outside world. Asheville was cut off for a few days. And there's probably some areas in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina that haven't even been able to reach out to the outside world. That's what I fear. And this could happen again in Florida. I don't think it will in Florida, because Florida's a bit more marsh, wetlands, whereas North Carolina and Tennessee are both mountainous regions. But still, be ready, because you could be cut off for days, if not weeks, and you don't want to be stuck at home with no food, because obviously you're going to die if you don't have any food. I will try to be live. If it does make landfall around 7 o'clock Wednesday, I will definitely be live, no matter what happens. I could be sick, or losing a leg or something. I'll still be live, because I want to make sure everyone's safe. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you're in the path of this thing, please, I urge you, if you're under a voluntary or mandatory, evacuate, because this is not a storm to be messing with.